Hey everyone, we are back. Welcome to Team JVS. We are here to review the new Disney Plus series, which is currently streaming on Disney Plus right now, called IWAJU. Waju is taking place in a futuristic Lagos, Nigeria. That's focusing on the story of a young girl named Tola, who's a young girl from a wealthy island, and her best friend Kole, a self-taught tech expert, discovers the secrets and dangers hidden in their different worlds. Yeah, guys, this is Michael Sowell, also from Jedi Mike 7, and here we're also with Sam from Team JVS, and we're here to review Awaji. Just actually really great series. It surprisingly did not expect it to to be this good. And then when I heard it was coming out, I'm very interested with the concept because I heard about this when it was announced years ago in the Disney investor meeting for Disney Plus and stuff. When I heard about it, I was like, okay, all right, let me see how it go. Again, now now here we are, but 2 or 3 years later now, and now I get the final product, and I was very pleased about the way they executed Logos Nigeria. Now, for those who don't know, Waju stands for the future Yoruba language. My family since Nigerian or Igbo. And I definitely appreciate in terms of the authenticity that they displayed in this show and stuff. But we're gonna go into it. I had also had the privilege of interviewing the directors from I believe is from me sure the media is Kawaji. I think Kawaji Media. I hope I'm not pronouncing that name right. I need to see where I'm missing it. Oh, Kugali Media. Kugali Media. Yes, interviewed the director as well as the visual effects department. Also, the cultural consultant of this show too, between Disney and them, to making sure that this is being very authentic, but also very true adaptation. But again, in a futuristic logos Nigeria, the best way possible of just in terms of displaying the culture the best way possible. But Sam, what was just your thoughts on this show? Iwaju.
Yeah, I off the first episode, it drew me in. First off, the little lizard named Alton, he- such a cute character, but so many different vast possibilities from a technological standpoint. The thing about it is that from that, it pivots to showing me this futuristic area that I'm like, what in the Wakanda is happening? Because this looks amazing. So many different innovations of technology that are so close to happening now. Certain things, I kind of wrote them all down. All the different small little tidbits of technologies I thought were so well thought out throughout the course of this. But I mean, I think the centering of Tola and Kole's relationship, one that is coming from a place of privilege, is the sweetest thing in the world in Tola. And then Kole is such a talented young man, but he knows struggle and he also knows devotion. And watching them kind of merge together is a very fascinating thing in the world that's around them. That even in the midst of technology, there's still struggle. There's still comparison, and there's still things and different parts of trying to make it forward, and what happens when you look backwards to realize what you sacrificed to get there. And I really did think this is a very good series. I got some gripes here and there, but I think that we'll get to those in a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely. This is a show that no one should have kids. This is something I want them to watch because yes, it's a futuristic logos Nigeria, but it's not Wakanda. It's not no make believe place. This is a real place, but in displayed in a in futuristic setting. But again, I one thing I really appreciate again is just with these characters, with these kids that is they're showing a sense of innocence, but also in a world where again it's not there's good things in terms of Logos Nigeria. And there's some bad things in Logos Nigeria, and I have to say from a director standpoint, I appreciate showing the humility of like, hey, there's some things in this culture and things are in culture that we're proud of, and some things we're not proud of. And also here we have children who might be ignorant or of it, or also children who are are moving in this world based off the circumstance and the environment that they're in, because of this setting. And again, I really appreciate what they did because a lot of adult themes in this show, but for kids still, this is still very educational. I feel, in terms of showing classism, as well. Again, there's not no talking about like other like from a European Western concept here. Like, no, this is all locals Nigeria. This is all people. This is all people you see here, and it's focusing on this community, this group of people that are going or making decisions from different opposite sides of the spectrum. You got someone from the top class trying to preserve that, and make a good living and good future for their daughter. Then you have someone from the lower class making decisions and for their parent, and making sure that they can survive. And then you have other people who are also in a system where they come from the bottom, but then they're like, no, there's a way to the top, but they're gonna make bad decisions, corrupting, stealing and other things like that, and using other characters to put themselves in very compromising situations. But again, for having kid like characters in this in a very adult setting, this was very interesting. And I was like, something I really gotta give props to Disney for. Cause I'm like, because I'm gonna be honest with you, like the stuff with Disney were putting out last year wasn't really a big fan of, and everything. But I was like, I hope that this show does not get slept on and doesn't get brushed under the rug, because there are some things that I was like, wait, this Disney let them do this, and they
Right.
did. And I really appreciate what they did here. But yeah.
Yeah, there was one thing I wanted to comment on that I think they did a really good job of. There was no weak female characters.
No.
Every female character, whether they were on screen or whether they weren't, were so specific and important and vital and strong, and they set the atmosphere for so many different things. Like Kole's mother, I love what they did with her character. Tola, I think, is a very strong young character, but then this character right here, that's on the opposition side, very to the book and very poignant, and a very interesting character. Like every single female character, I think they did an amazing job, which is weird to say in a show like this. But also the action. The action was freaking crazy. Like they went in with the action, but the thing about the action, you can do good action, but you have to make it work. You have to make sure that there is this feeling of impending doom, that anything can happen. And I think that they set that atmosphere more than anything. There is always this feeling in this show that you turn the wrong corner, you may get taken out. Like there's like kidnapping, there's death, there's a lot of invoking themes that make you feel the severity of the atmosphere around these kids, that are just really innocent, and they're kind of thrust into these situations. And so when the action picks up, you celebrate the action when it comes, because you're like, oh, okay, it's a breather from the seriousness of the world. But then when there is a cost, you're rallying behind and cheering behind every moment where they can kind of fight back. Even when a freaking lizard fights back, you're like, yes, go get them, lizard. And so I think that they set up the action moments really well, because they allow you to actually breathe and feel like there is the possibility of anything happening. And I love that about it. But one thing I did want to comment, it's a negative and a positive. I think that if you watch this show, this really could have been a movie. This could have been a 2.5 hour movie, and I think it would have been just fine. Matter of fact, I think it should have been a 2 hour. I think they should have. I mean, they could have maybe made it 2D, but even if it was just exactly how it is right here, I polish it a little bit and put that as a full movie, because the episode separation, when they do the next episode, it literally leaves off right where it was. So it feels like they shot it like a movie, and then they had to separate it into a small little series. And that was so jarring to me at times, because I was like, no, just give me the whole thing. So we binged the whole entire thing. But I was like, what if it was like you were in the movie theater and witnessed this from the beginning to end? You know how more powerful that would have been, as opposed to being on Disney Plus. Like us as a people seeing something like that, in a movie format, I think that was a missed opportunity, in my opinion. And maybe they can go and like do exactly what I'm suggesting. Like later on, like put this in the theater and see what happens. Because there's some people that are not going to watch this on Disney Plus, but they'll watch it in the movie theater. They'll be like, oh, like let's go see this. Like, and so I think that was the only real negative I have, because like, man, this was a missed opportunity from a theatrical standpoint. You really could have invoked some major emotions from a cultural standpoint, in my opinion. But
This is to me, this was another turning red.
yeah,
Like a situation where it's on Disney Plus, even though that was a movie, it was on Disney Plus, should have been in the theaters, and certain things that were in the theaters should have been on Disney Plus. Yeah, it again, I do like they choose a safe option, but again, I hope this is a project where this project has can walk, so the future projects can run, meaning going to theaters. So again, it's always a first step, and I hope that this media company then does move forward, making other shows as well. But again, this is a show that I can watch and let my kids see. It's actually be knowledgeable in a way because again, break the trope of Wakanda, and again, I mentioned that in the review, like, or in the interview. I was like, "Thank you for giving something to me, like for my kids to watch, the way that I can give them something other than Wakanda." Because again, that's the first thing when people were looking at this, like, "Wait, what futuristic African nation? I heard that before," but no, this is what something that possibly can come to light, right? But then I think that what makes it more real and tangible. But again, and you're right. That's saying that I think that in terms of story structure too. Also, on top of that, in the story structure, they don't explain, hey, the year 2080 or whatever. They don't do nothing. You just automatically in and just accept it for what it is. All
yep.
right. We don't even know from from international standpoint. This is where all the entire world is, futuristic and stuff. We don't know nothing. We're just in this the city, this state and everything, and that's it. And there's no explanation of it. Now, like in the year 2080, and like no logos, Nigeria, nothing. We're just in it. And I think again that if it was a movie, that'd be something very interesting too, because again, this to me is what diversity is done the right way in media. Because one thing for me, I think as African American or it's Nigerian, whatever, is like I am getting kind of frustrated about how we're being portrayed in media, in animation, in shows, movies, particularly when it comes to educating people about our culture, right? Because I think especially with certain script storylines or even just characters that I feel like some of the things we've been seeing have been half baked with good intentions, but half baked characters to a point where it kind of diminishes in terms of us just being, having more stories that of characters that look like us. But this was actually like this wasn't pandering. There wasn't no oh yeah, let's look how the white man or is this no, there's no white, it is all black people in this show. And there's and then it was just we're just focused on this culture and that's it. And I'm like, and you telling a very uplifting story, but also a very raw and real story. Like there's things in here where it's like I remember watching and some of the people were like, okay, like for example, like not no spoiler or anything, but like let's say it's there's parts in the culture of Logos, Nigeria you weren't very aware of, and you're like, wait, the police station closed? Or hey, wait, what do you mean this police station closed? Like that, and then that to me when I was hearing that, I was like, yeah, there's something you didn't know about, right? Oh, some things about when it comes to classism in of helper. We have housekeepers. We have housekeepers and of people who look just like you. And again, and how that operate that in terms of in the culture says, and how are children impacted by that? Again, there's really I can say maybe also abducting children, human trafficking. Like, come on, like this is adult things that are happening around the world. Not I'm just saying, but again, it's told in the eyes of a child in a way, and still capturing their innocence, even in these harsh situations, but still making it addressing of like, okay, how, you having kids in this environment, how a kid going to respond, but also I think the beauty of it was really with Tola. She's the heart of this show, especially with her pain with the lizard and everything. Um, that she definitely from the start to from beginning to the end had this pure innocence about her. That really was that regardless with anything that was around her, in terms of her environment, she was not corrupted. She was still just raw. Um, Very dependable girl who was just happy to help people wherever she was, even though she was coming in a position of privilege. But she did not see that. Like when she invites someone on the seat of the table to break bread with them, like so, as a child, it's like that is something that is very beautiful to see and actually be told from in the eyes of children. And I feel like it's honestly very needed. But again, I think this definitely should have been a movie. I think this is again, but I think this is the first, but definitely won't be the last. And I have to give props to Disney allowing this company uh, to fully authentically display Nigeria in the best way possible. Because again, the director said that they had weekly meetings, just answering questions like what happened in this day of Nigeria, like how these people go to school, how these people in the market buy food and stuff like that. Certain foods are in this in the show. I was like, man, they have this invest in there. Okay, and those are again the smallest things without you even thinking, okay, there's a robot carrying fruits and vegetables around. You're not even thinking about that. You just think about, oh, they're having, food that's in our culture and they're having that in there,
Right.
too. And then even from the first episode, you just see, again, like, this gives black excellence, a lot, the whole another meaning too, but also just of what the possibilities, what it could be on a child sense. Like, and it won't spoil this, but there is one moment with that involves hair in the beginning of the episode. I was like, when you first see it, you can't, especially if you're black, you can't not watch that scene and not smile. Like, it's like, yeah, it's like I want one, I want one. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it's a really good series, man. They if they made more that kind of chronicle this world, I'd be all the way behind it. I mean, honestly, when you got a character like Bode that you would think, oh, this is just a black kingpin. No,
No.
this Nigerian man is very calculated, smart, engaged, and you get behind how he got to where he is. If you can't say nothing about him, you understand exactly how he got to be who he is. And you might fault him for it, but he's just written so well. And the voice acting talent, that's the thing. The voice acting talent is really good too. I think they do a really good job with every single character here. This to me, from a serious standpoint, is an A. Easy A. I would give it an A plus if they had made it a movie. But this is an easy A series. This is something that you can let your kids watch. Well, maybe there's certain themes and certain moments because characters do go through an evolution. Like Tola as a character, by the last few episodes, she gets put through a lot. And she starts to see the world like the actual world, and I think that is a very invoking experience. Same thing happens to Kole with certain things what happened with sacrifice. So maybe it's good to watch it with your kids, and I think it'd be good for the family. It might be a good family exercise. Go and check it out with your family, and I think you're not going to be disappointed by this amazing series.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, I'll definitely give my final rating for this. I'll definitely give this an A. Again, this is a show I'm gonna give to my kids, for them to understand, African culture, especially Nigerian culture. And Kugali Media, I can say thank you for again creating an amazing series. It's very definitely educational. But also authentic and again in a way that is and also is showing in an enlightening way of how to tell these stories in a way that kids and adults can receive this and actually enjoy it. I again, which is not a very easy thing to do. And again, I also thank Disney Animation for allowing them to do this. But I hope that I challenge Disney and Disney Animation to understand what they have here and understand the possibility what they can do showing these characters or showing and telling these stories in the right way, instead of just kind of just filling a checklist of just trying to expand your diversity throughout your media and the films and shows that you're creating. This is the show that needs to be talked about and needs to be shown. But yeah, I definitely give this an A. I'll make sure I didn't leave anything else out. But other than that, this is a show that's currently streaming on Disney Plus right now. Make sure you guys go check it out. Again, you do not want to miss it. I can guarantee you'll be in for a really nice surprise and for the whole family, to be honest with you. But yeah, this is Sam. This is Jedi Mike 7. You can make sure you guys subscribe to Team JVS on YouTube. And also make sure you subscribe to me on Jedi Mike 7 on YouTube and on Instagram and on the Twitter and maybe TikTok if it's still here tomorrow. But anyway, see y'all. JVS, we ain't going to stop. Peace.
Falling out the top of
I can see the skyline, 50 mile radius on my timeline. Ain't nothing on my mind.